Istanbul, everybody. My name is Jacob Majais. Today we're going to be playing Teacher's Route. I just, I'm, if I'm being honest, I started playing Echo right after started to play Flynn's Route immediately after I completed Carl's Route. So we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to go after Flynn. Let's see what's up with him. Look back at Flynn as he winds his way down the trail towards the road. A sigh angrily starting towards him. Chase, I wouldn't. Someone's gotta talk sense to that idiot. He thinks he can just get away with this shit. You know how he is. I keep walking. He's moving pretty slow, so it's easy to catch up with him. He's got his hands jammed into his pockets as he walks along. His head's down. Flynn jerks his head up and looks back around at me. He's chewing on a toothpick, which he promptly pulls out of his muzzle. The hell? What the fuck are you thinking you're doing, Chase? Go back. Yeah, right. You think you can just walk away from me after saying shit like that? He stops walking and turns around fully to face me. I step up right in front of him, just a few feet away. He looks at me over, and for some reason I can see a smile threatening to crack his face as he tries to keep it hidden. Yeah? What are you gonna do about it? I shrug. Talk. We were having a good time. Why do you have to go and turn everything good? He suddenly steps that close, thrusting his chest out into me. It hits me around the neck and I stumble back. Not in the mood. He sticks. If I remember closely, this is the route I wanted to do first. This was the route I wanted to do first. It's just I was more concerned about TJ because he was being a bit of an asshole. Go back to the river so you can all talk about what an asshole I am. What? I'll watch him go for a bit. I'm not too worried about Flynn actually beating me up. I'm annoyed him pretty bad before, but he never actually ever hurt me, at least not maliciously. On top of that, he'd have Leo to answer to if he ever did anything like that, and he knows how that could end up. Still, he looks pretty angry when he stepped towards TJ, more than I'd ever see him probably. Now might not be the best time to do this. I want to keep going. Screw him. Once again, he thinks the act of an asshole can just brush off whoever he doesn't want to talk to. Well, I'm about to show him exactly why that doesn't work when it's a stubborn otter he's up against. I start following again, doing a little jog to catch up. This time, Flynn hears me and whirls around, pulling the tooth out of his mouth again. Ears filled with water? I said, fuck off! I flinch a little under his yelling. I square my shoulders and walk up to him, standing my ground. I'm only 3 feet away. Oh what? You're gonna hit me? Really? Go on, try it. I look at him in the eye, and immediately I know I have nothing to worry about. This is Flynn after all, one of my best friends. Whether or not he'd ever admit to it, our little group is family, no matter how many stupid fights we get into. He's trying to scare me though, with the way he's leaning over me, glaring. I just smirk up at him, and pretty soon I see his facade crack. He slumps down, letting out a massive sigh, deflating like a life-size lizard balloon. Fucking honors. What do you want? I want you to stop being a dick. He looks right back at me and glares, sort of the posturing coming back. What? Oh Christ, you heard me. That is not a good thing to say to me right now. Flynn starts leaning over to me again. I can hear right back, almost bumping muzzles. Yeah, well, everything you said back there was not a good thing to say. I see the corner of one of his eyes twitch. We're so close I can smell the beer in his breath. I see that smirk tug at the muzzle again. Coming in for a kiss? He presses even closer and I feel my muzzle flush. I'm not backing down. I see how it is. Bored with Leo and now you want some lizard action, eh? No, I just want an explanation. He raises a brow and leans back a little. Of why you're being such a dick. Why we're all supposed to be when we're all supposed to be having fun. Actually, I think I know exactly what this is. You're trying to prove me wrong. Well, being an obnoxious twit doesn't suddenly mean you got a personality. Anyway, you told me to speak my mind. I did. He turns away again and starts walking. I quickly catch up and start walking alongside him. That's not an answer. Besides, even if something's true, it doesn't mean you have to point it out in the middle of everyone's vacation. Flynn keeps walking, opting to glare at the dusty trail. You really think I'm just gonna bone all of you? I'm not. Flynn laughs, and for once, it's not cynical, it's genuine. I think what you're doing right now isn't helping your case, Chase. But I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with you, Flynn. My phone buzzes and I pull it out. How do you? It's a text from Leo. Everything is fine, and I'm just trying to talk to Flynn. Flynn starts right in my ear, making me jump. I jerk my phone away as I realize he's been reading over my shoulder. What? Wolfie boy thinks I'm gonna clock you for being annoying? You almost hit TJ. Almost. At this point, we're walking alongside Big Emma Road, the trail winding in between and the reservoir itself. There's a little guardrail at the lakeside, but it's rusty and seriously doubt that it would stop any car from going to the lake. Another 10 minutes and we reach the motel. My phone buzzes again as I get a response from Leo. If he does anything, call me. Flynn sighs again. He stops and I turn to face him. He looks sad for once, staring hard at the ground. I just sort of blacked out for a second. I was angry. That's what murderers say after they kill their exes. Jesus, Chase. But okay, I fucked up. Yeah, no shit. It's just something that's been fucking with me ever since it happened. He's not telling the truth. Flynn looks up at me sharply. You know he isn't. Flynn's staring at me hard as if looking for something. At this time, I do look away. What if he is? No, no, you saw him right after it happened. How scared he was. How could look at any of us? I had no idea what to say. Flynn never talks about this. Before today, the last time I heard him mention Sydney was like 6 years ago. It's really fucked me up that we thought we could just come back to this stupid fucking lake. He clicks his foot across the ground towards the reservoir, some pebbles falling over the steep drop and plopping into the water. It fucked us all up, but Flynn most of all. Look, Finn, maybe something did happen. Something he doesn't want to tell us. But it's TJ, you know? What kind of person he is. That's what makes us so fucking shitty. But we were kids. He was like 10 years old. We're different people now. Looking behind Flynn, I see Leo's van coming up the road. Flynn waits for me to go on, but sees me looking back and does so himself. As soon as he sees the van, he folds his arms and turns his head across the lake. As it puts alongside, the window rolls down as I see Jen in the passenger seat, Leo next to her. Hey, we're heading back. Wanna get in? Flynn doesn't say anything, instead choosing to continue staring at the lake. I decide that it's probably a good idea for me to walk with him instead of making him do it alone. Nah, that's alright. We're just talking. Leo shifts his gaze to Flynn, studying him before turning back. Alright, text me later, okay? Okay. The window rolls back up as the van pulls away, kicking out some dust from the roadside as it does. I turn back to Flynn, still looking at the lake, chewing slowly from his toothpick. That's when his stomach growls so loudly, it almost makes me jump. I snort and Flynn fixes me with a glare. What? I didn't get to eat. Neither did I, which is your fault. Flynn grunts and keeps walking up the trail towards Echo, town's windows and rusty sign glinting in the desert haze. I skip up alongside him. Hey, why don't we go to the diner? It's just a few minutes away. Flynn grimaces. I can't eat that shit anymore. When's the last time you ate there? A few years ago. What? Wow, what do you? Oh yeah, doesn't he fish? Flynn laughs. I go to Peyton, but they actually have grocery stores. Oh, okay. A few moments of silence pass before Flynn speaks up again. I guess it would hurt to eat there again. for old time's sakes. As we walk into the diner, my senses are assaulted by nostalgia. Everything looks and smells the same, from the faded patched stools to the smell of burgers and fries. Out of habit, start walking towards the corner booth, the one we always used to sit. Where are you going? Huh? I look back at Flynn, who is standing near the counter, looking ready to sit on one of the stools. Oh, come on, Flynn, those are uncomfortable. Besides, it's easier to talk. Some of the patrons are starting to look up back from their meals. Flynn looks around, clearly embarrassed, and shoves his hands into his pockets, making his way over to me. Fine. I slid into the booth, into my usual spot onto the right-hand side. Usually Leo would sit next to me. Flynn sits opposite me, leaning back, eyes half open. Tired? Yep. I wait for him to elaborate, but he doesn't go on. Up late? Flynn reaches up and rubs his eyes. Yeah. The long breath he takes in before he says that tells me he's starting to get annoyed, so I drop it. Luckily, that's when Janice, the old diner waitress, comes over to our table. Chase, my goodness. What are you doing here? Hi, Janice, just doing a school project. Oh, really? What sort of school? What sort of schooling might be here for you? I'm actually just getting some film of the town. Flynn's covering both of his eyes while hands down, as if that's gonna make him invisible. And you, Flynn, can't say I've seen you all recently. Flynn makes a low grunting sound, not taking his hands away. Janice keeps talking though, unfazed. Well, anything you like to drink while you're deciding on your meal? Water. Water. Chase? Ooh, that's. Oh. I'm just gonna like base it on my opinion. Water is pretty bland. Coke, I don't like Coke. I'm not a root beer. I have not tasted it. Root beer float. Like this is like I'm gonna base it off my real life preference. I never tasted root beer before. I've not tasted it. I think a strawberry shake would be good. I have the strawberry shake. Sure thing. Flynn does move his hand at this point and looks at me. His expression is odd, like he wants to say something. I look back and raise my brows, but he just shuts his muzzle and looks out the window. Alright, I'll be right back with you. As Janice moves on to some other patrons, I look back at Flynn. Were you gonna say something? Flynn shakes his head, folding his arms on the table and hunching towards. No. Some of his mood is even darker than it was earlier. I sigh, frustrated. It's so damn hard to understand Flynn. His mood swings are absolutely ridiculous. I lean back and fold my arms, scowling. What? You know exactly what. I'm trying to be friendly here. Flynn shrugs, a bewildered expression on his face. I don't know what to say, Chase. It's been a shitty day. I don't say anything, just look out the window like Flynn. Again, there's a tense silence between us. I just listen to the clatter of silverware from the two other people in the diner, along with the old rockabilly music playing over the crackly speakers. Finally, Flynn sighs. I decide that his signature expression, like Carl struck. Sorry, I'm just as I said. It's been a shitty day. It is fine. That's when Janice brings over our drinks, before taking the notepad out to take ours. Alright, what you'll have? Tuna melt, onion rings. Uh-huh. You, Chase? Perhaps I'll go with the same thing as Flynn. I want to see if like choosing the same thing as him will like bond better. I'll get the tuna melt too. Alrighty. And what you'll have on the side? Onion rings, onion rings. Onion rings, please. Flynn is staring at me in a weird sort of way as if he's trying to see something. Great. I'll have it right over. Sit tight. As Janice bustles away, I look over to the side and black at Flynn. What? Flynn keeps squinting, his face incredulous now. You really not? He doesn't finish and instead shakes his head. Never mind. Seriously, you're kind of freaking me out. Flynn chuckles and covers his eyes again, rubbing. Same. What the hell is he talking about? I'm opening my mouth to ask again, but he cuts me off. Listen, I got the day off tomorrow. Do you want to do something? I stare at him, at a loss for words. First, he's acting like a complete douche, then tells me I'm scaring him. And now he's inviting me to hang out with him? See, what do you call it? Bipolar? I guess. Whoops. Alright, I'll come back sometime afternoon. Maybe with Kyle. He doesn't do shoot, so he should be free. Okay. I guess I could use a break from working on the project for a bit. Flynn goes on to tell me that he and Leo should often go out to fish on the days off. That is actually a lot of fun. I'm still trying to get used to the shift in the conversation when Janet shows up with her food. Flynn stares out on his giant green cheese sandwich while I take a giant bite of mine. Fuck, I'm gonna regret this. Why? Tastes great. Well, you're lucky. This kind of food fucks up my stomach. Do you make your own food? Yeah. Oh, that's good. I snort and Flynn looks up sharply. Sorry, it's just hard to imagine. Hey, I'm a real good cook. Oh yeah, you cooked something in a Jenna's wrap. I guess the expression on my face is showing because I don't buy because he smirks back at me. Fine. Sometimes this week you coming over. I'll show you then. I shrug, even though I feel like I won some kind of secret battle we're having. Deal. Flynn pulls me over the rocks and boulders. I stumble along, trying to keep my balance. Flynn's insistent, though almost angry. We've reached the edge of the lake and he throws me down. I stare at the wet sand and back up at Flynn. He points and tells me to dig. I start digging. I don't know what I'm looking for and I ask, but Flynn doesn't say anything. Water keeps filling the hole. It's hard to keep sand from sliding back in. Finally, I reach in deep and someone grabs my paw. I stare like that for a long time. Wait, so going back in time? Wait, I'll just look. Hal dangs Lou in front of himself around. Flynn screams at it in British. British or his muzzle would be hanging open if he didn't have. He's a fucking guy. What? 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 Car's tied the spin in a giant ugly knot. The, the string sticking out in every way. This is why I told you to fucking wait. Pascal has got impatient and decided to tie his own mirror, but Flynn helped me with mine. Flynn takes out a knife from his pocket and takes it to Pascal. I'd throw that away if I didn't have so fucking few of them. What's wrong, Pascal? Pascal shoves his paw into his pockets, watching me. It's not. I don't see what the big deal is. It's the task. He looks at me and grins, shrugging his shoulders. Shrug back. You make it fucking big, but it's not gonna spin. Flynn is muttering angry under his breath, squeezing his forearms to his chest as he tries to keep his fingers sticky. Carl rolls his eyes and looks over at the screen. We gotta push this auto. I'm willing. That's not the point. They didn't. Flynn almost growls, prodding and poking at the missing arm. But relax. How Chase is gonna relax swimming around the whole. How's Chase gonna relax swimming the whole time? I was speaking. He finally seems to get a handle on the mess. That's stabbing out knife. How am I gonna relax with you fucking everything up? You're being a bit harsh, John. The line finally drops away. That's what I get for picking up my head around. Yeah. Nicholas, you're about that. I rolled his eyes again. Jesus. The rock was slowly leaving the line, watching my spin and glisten on the water. Why are you asking me? You have what's it? Yeah, what's data? Isn't the idea that everyone has it? He doesn't respond as Flynn starts showing him how to actually tie the line. I come up empty and I cast the line out of it. Listening to the clicking whir of the reel before the spinner lands flopped in the middle of the pond. I was wondering where Flynn would go to fish, since we wouldn't go to Emma, obviously. Turns out he and Leo found this pond 20 minutes outside town, deep into the wilderness. Unsurprisingly, no one thinks that. That's why Flynn says everything is good. There's definitely something coming up a big out in the middle of nowhere, especially with the repetitive motions of fishing. Finally, Flynn finishes showing Carl how to cast and the ram launches the spinner out, almost all the way to the other side of the pond. Careful, idiot! If you get a snap from the other end, I'll whoop you back. Oh, Carl really fast and casts out again, making a few sounds. Flynn started walking up next to him, watching as I reel much slower. I feel a little self-conscious with the way he stands over me, but I'm doing something wrong. Sure enough, he steps forward, chest up against my back as he grips the pole. Okay, this is some gay ass shit. Grab it about the real post. Here. He holds the rod and grabs my paw and slides it up. Okay, that is some gay ass. That is some gay ass shit I'm reading. That way you can really grip it when you catch something. Right up against my back. Wrapped around me. Yeah, this is some gay ass shit. I swallow and I try to poke him. Yeah. Alright. This is like some Brokeback Mountain ass shit. I hear him give a low chuckle in his throat and I glare. Of course he knows what he's doing right. Probably rubbing it when I did it. I just had to respond by sliding my tail up to the inside of his leg and I chuckle turning to a grin eyes. What the hell are you guys doing? I don't know. Let go of the pole and steps back with Carl, watching his face screwed up in exaggerated disgust. Now it's your Carl pauses on his reach. It's not like plus I don't know wait off my hands. Go back. I focus back on fishing. Still feeling a little warm close to how I had Flynn. I'm a little angry that he tried that, especially so soon after what had happened. I try to focus back on how relaxed the emotions are. Streaking the leg clockwise as I pass out against him again and again. If I really did want to catch a fish, though, I would be swimming in the water right now. It is hard to do. I've done it several times when I was younger. I wonder if people can actually swim and like catch fish manually. Because like I want to learn how to swim to the point where I can like catch a fish with my hands. Because that's less relaxing. You have to actively search for the fish rather than just classically after one bite. I've never killed one before though. Careful now! Winston looked to the side, seeing Flynn covering his head and ducking as Carl's little bounces and swings around above him. You let go of the fucking button! Carl shrugs and starts to swing his pole around, trying to unwrap the line from his pole. With no right against my tail, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I'm trying to show ya. Pew, pew, Kyle launches his lure over the pond so far that it almost lands on the opposite bank. It does, however, wrap tightly around the branch, sticking up from a fallen log. Hello. Ah, fucking unbelievable. The stair is hugging it fully, trying to get an untangle from the log. No, stop. We're going to walk around the edge and get fucking cat. No way. Too bad. That's one of my last fucking leaves. Come on. Carl shoulders slammed his stuff. Flying slid down the hole and started stripping my shirt off, followed by pumps. After a pause, I decided to take off my boxers too. It's not like Gemini. I took them a while to stop arguing. Now about to blow from practice. I realize that I'm now new. Uh, I get the damn lure. Just stop arguing. Yeah, one of these, huh? Shut up. We've all seen in chat later. What? Ain't no way that's an actual thing. I mean, like, unless you were like little kids. That makes sense. You're naked? Nah. Which is hard to do considering I got a pretty steep bank to wobble over. I managed though, and I'm pretty sure I'm sliding to the thick mark. Careful. I don't know what the fuck's in there. Did you say no one comes here? I don't get his response, but I dive right after that. Familiar feeling of water closing up around me, cutting off air and sound. Again, it's a huge relief to be back in the water, and I drift towards the bottom. It's not deep at all, and the water here has a slimy feel that I don't like. Still, it's better than nothing, and I undulate slowly across the pond. It doesn't take long to reach the log, and it's only about 30 feet away. I have to bob a few times to the surface to look around, though, since the water's too murky to see through. I'm actually kind of starting to regret doing this. I try to remember if I have any cuts or sores. I'm gonna have to douse it in peroxide later. That's when one of my paws bumped the log, and I bob back up to the surface, wiping a paw across my eyes. I see the line glinting above me, some drops of pond water clinging to it. I reach up and grasp it between my index and thumb, and I follow it to the branch. I feel Carl gives it a few tugs. Hey, Chase, Flynn saws there's leeches in the pond. I hear a loud smack followed by a yelp. Don't fucking yank it around. You wanna snag his eyeball? I ignore them and I search for the lure. I continue to follow the line until I leap over to the log and spot the spinner. Shimmering in the sunlight, the hook wedged into the soft wet wood. It comes out easily and I carefully lift it, making sure that I'm out of the way and the hook is in case. Carl decides to yank the line again. When I turn around, I'm glad to see that Flynn's got the pole now. Hold up the lure to show him and I let him drop back into the water. Flynn's slowly starting to reel it back in. I go back in, slowly swimming back to the opposite bank. It's at that point that I see a silver flash to the right of my field of vision. I look over and I see a fish swimming lazily over some plant life on the bottom of the pond. I pause and I would have smiled if my mouth wasn't going to fill with pond water. It would be funny, after all this time with their lures and their paws, for me to just pop out of the water, fish in paw. I swim over to it slowly, lingering to the side so I won't block the sideline before diving down and snatching it up. I latch in my claws to keep it from escaping as I give a little wiggle of delight. It's been a long time since I've done this, but it looks like I still got it. I turn and I start swimming back to Flynn and Carl, and that's when I suddenly feel like I'm being watched. It's not the typical feeling though. It's much more intense. I pause, that's the hum. I pause and I look back over the shoulder, then forward again. It's pointless because everything's cloudy. I can't see more than 10 feet. I've sunk down to the bottom of the pond, both of my feet resting in deep muck as I crouch, trying to figure out where the feeling is coming from. It doesn't help that my head is starting to buzz, a tone building in my head that sounds like an orchestra tuning. I haven't been down there since long. I shouldn't be running out of the air. Of course, I should be just swimming up to the surface where it's bright and safe, but I don't, because this feels too familiar. I think back to when I was 12, playing in the abandoned school with Carl. I was hiding from him, A second floor classroom when I feel this exact feeling. Intense, almost physical, like a hand was grabbing into the back of my neck. I look around again, then finally look down at the fish in my paws. And now I know where it's coming from. Before I know what, I'm whipping upwards, breaking through the surface in less than a second, and swimming towards my friends. I stumble up on the bank, splashing water everywhere as I do. I'm not holding the fish anymore. What the fuck were you doing? I try to steady my breathing, hoping they just think it's because I was down for so long, rather than me being freaked the fuck out. Carl's laughing next to Flynn as I start pressing my paws down my body, trying to speed up the drying process. What? Carl shrugs, but Flynn smacks him upside the head again. It's pissed in the water while you were under. Great. Honestly, I don't really care right now. I wouldn't worry about it. You didn't come up near it, and it's probably worse in there anyway. Speaking of which, why don't you further up the stream and wash up? I don't want you bringing pond shit into my truck. Okay. I sigh and pick up my clothes, just glad they seemingly haven't noticed anything off. Luckily for me, Flynn parked right next to the stream, so it's easy to find. It's freezing cold, though, compared to the pond, so I get washed up quickly. I gasp as I splash the water over my body, shivering before I stand back and start squeezing into the water out of my fur again. Everything okay? I jump and look back, Flynn leaning against his truck, arms folded, watching me. I blush. It was easy to be naked in front of the two of them, but for some reason, it was just being Flynn made it way more embarrassing. I turn back around, pressing my tail harder against my ass as I wave my arms up and down, trying to dry off. Yeah, come for a show? Yeah, I always wanted to see the naked one mimicking a bird. A bird! Shut up! I'm trying to dry off. Flynn doesn't say anything, so I just turn around, not even bothering to color up, paws on my hips. Okay, seriously, you just come to see me naked? He hasn't moved at all, but he cracks a smile. Maybe. I don't let that trip me up and instead thrust my hips out, legs spread. Well, there you go. I got a towel in my truck. He's still smiling and his eyes definitely aren't on mine. Flynn has flirted with me before, even while I was dating Leo. I vaguely remember there being some altercations between the two. I make my way towards the truck, against some angle, my hips away from him. You really know how to creep a guy out. I lift up on the handle, but the door doesn't open. Hey, unlock the. Something shoves hard into the small of my back as I've thrown far to land with a red splat against the hot metal on Flynn's truck. What the hell? Something tall, skinny, and muscular presses up against my back. Chills run down my spine as Flynn muzzle snuffles into my ear, a low growling in his voice. You really think you can just tease me like that and get away with it? His paws slide up around my body, between the car and my stomach before moving up my chest. I'm frozen that way, paws against the passenger window as I stare in shock through it. As truck's steering wheel, though I'm not really seeing it. There's a pause, and I'm thinking it's because he's waiting for my response, to see if I tell him to stop or not. I don't, though, and I lean my back against him to his neck, feeling my entire body break out into goosebumps as he rubs at my chest. You like that, don't you? I respond with a gasp as his sharp teeth graze across one of my stubby ears, his hot breath sending another wave of chills across over my skin. His hands slide back down, slowly feeling up my body. Acting like a little slut. You didn't think this was gonna happen? I stiffen a little under the remark, and I lift my tail up, again between his legs. You want to fucking talk? I'm not completely sure about what's going on, if this is a spur of the moment thing, or if he's trying to prove a point. What I do know is that we both want. Whoa! Damn! I don't know! Top. Aggressively is feeling sleepy. I know he's got a soft side. On top of that, he's caught me off guard and that's annoying. For a moment, Flynn pauses again as if distracted by something, but I don't give him time to tell me what it is. Using my towel, it calls to his thigh and I drag the reptile around, ending his spin with his back thumping to his truck. My paw slips into the open shirt. pinning either side on the button of his arms. He grunts, a smirk on his muzzle as he leers at me. Well, well, there's the spicy otter I used to know. Forget how damn strong otter tails can be. I grin at my own works across my muzzle, and I forgot how soft scales can be. I bring my snout to his stomach, then firmly muzzle into the patch of orange scales there. Flynn's abs flex for a moment, then I realize as I work my broad nose in. His skin is a little coarse, but underneath it is soft and warm. It has always been Flynn's soft spot. Not just physically, but it's also a really sensitive spot for him. I found this out years ago when I first tickled him. And it's evident that the little lizard moan that slips out of his muzzle. Cheap move, Chase. Fucking otters and they wet, cold ass noses. Yeah, and you love it, Flynn. I feel very unsafe with this. I'm not sure exactly what has gotten into me. Like I'm a teenager again with the way I'm acting. I can see Flynn's surprised too, but he doesn't say anything. At this point, his button-up has slipped over his shoulders, revealing more of his taut, literally form. His dark scales and orange scales both glisten in the desert sun. Flynn's biceps flex as he struggles with my hold, which must have been an act because he's sure as hell she couldn't have broken the pin if he tried. His playful struggling only gets more excited. My sheath is... It's like a... My paws glide over his chest before sliding down his sides, then across his waist to grope his chest. Fuck you, you know? I don't let just anybody touch me like this. I seriously doubt that. Oh, damn. A little shiver runs onto the lizard, and he leans in free from my grasp, nibbling briefly into my air. Okay. Flynn slouches down for a better leverage, his paws wrapping into the small of my back. I take advantage of him being at my height level, and I glide my wet tongue along the slick sails of his neck. His whole body gives a weird little jump, his hands snapping up to grab my arms, almost painfully, but he doesn't push me away. I give a little grunt of annoyance and shrug off his hands, bringing my own paws back to his front. Dragging my blunt claws across his stomach, I trail them to around his neck, scritching into his scales. Flynn rasps, letting out another reptilian moan. I can't help but giggle, pressing my body into the euphoric lizard. He tilts his head back, eyes half-lidded, and maw agape, his tongue flicking into the air. For a moment, I realize exactly what I'm doing, making out with my childhood friend. Strange as it is, it's sexy as I mean, you did that with Leo, so what's... There's not really much of a difference. A few years ago, there was no way I'd be okay with this. I guess the time apart, along with being pent up for a few days, helped to spur me on. I'm nearly fully out of my sheath at this... Okay. Uh... God damn it, Chase. I know, sister. Sorry. Like that face you made. Go on. Would have made a loon sooner. Would have made a move sooner as all. I slide my paws around his waist towards the front and brush up against something very hard. Okay. Wrapping my... Okay. Okay, this is some diddy ass shit. Shit, he must have been a handful for Wolfie Boy. He's not the type to easily submit. Flynn's right, Leo was a stubborn boyfriend, in and out of the bedroom. With a lot of coaxing, I could eventually get him to see things my way, but that hardly ever happened. I had a lot of energy as a teenager, more zest, I guess. It's hard to explain, but over the years I just become more, well, exactly what Flynn's accused me of being. Personally, I chalk it up to growing up. Right now, I do sort of feel like my old self, and that's kind of incredible. Hey, I'm a versatile otter. I like to trade off. I grin as Flynn guides my paws in his brief. Okay, I'm not pushing down his. I feel violated. I'm about to place out my paws on his torso when Flynn suddenly pulls back. He lets go of my wrist and the expression on his face strange again. He's looking for something. I'm confused, still sort of slack-jawed as I stared back at him. What? Slowly, his expression becomes more resolute, almost dark as he steps back further away from me, folding his arms. Nothing. They realized that colleges could see us. We shouldn't have done this here. Huh? He's acting like I started this. I'm feeling self-conscious now that he's clearly not interested in continuing. I turn away slightly, one paw against the car as I angle my body so he can't see my dick anymore. I look back over to my shoulder at him, feeling myself getting angrier. Hey, you're the one. But he's already turned around and heading back towards the pond. I watch him go, feeling bewildered and maybe even hurt. Asshole. I muddled it under my breath. Did he stop because he decided I wasn't up to his standards? That idea hurts more because I imagine those are pretty low. I stand there for a while longer, feeling like a complete idiot before finally heading back to the stream. I've picked up in all kinds of shit from smearing my body against his dirty truck. I'll be sure not to let him take advantage of me so easily again. Are you sure about that? We headed down Elizabeth Street after dropping Carl off, the drive only a little awkward. Flynn's really good at acting like he's nothing wrong when he wants to, and I'm totally fine with that right now. That's when I see a set of familiar ears through the window of the convenience store. Is that TJ? Flynn ducks his head to look out my window. Looks like it. Flips a U-turn, which isn't a big deal since no one on the road, and and pulls up into the parking lot. What are you doing? Stopping by to say hi. Oh, okay. I just need to buy some stuff anyway. I look over to the window so Flynn can see the look on my face. I already know where this is a bad idea. TJ is at the register and his ears flick in our direction before he turns to see us. At first he smiles when he sees me, but then his ears fall flat as he sees Flynn coming behind me. Jenna pokes her head from behind TJ and now I see this is a really bad idea. They're both a little dirty and TJ had his backpack on. I wave at them to let them know I've seen them before moving towards the back of the store. I need to get some bottled water since I don't really like drinking from the faucet in the motel. That's just a big thing. I hear Flynn say something as he walks up to them, and I slightly hope that by the time I get back, everything will be magically resolved. Because the old corner store market closed, this is the only place where you can buy food, aside from the diner. Looking across at the selection, I can see why Flynn takes the 30-minute drive to Peyton to get his food. I grab a few water bottles and head back to his front. My hopes of a resolution are dashed as I see the awkward situation unfolding in front of me. TJ's standing on the other side of Jenna now, keeping her between him and Flynn. No one's saying anything as I get to the register. The air tends at TJ fidgeting with his facial fur. As I pull out my wallet, and look over at Jenna. Hey, how was your hike? Fine. Hot. Ah. A red fox I don't recognize takes the $2 I hand to him. I feel Flynn shift around next to me, then I hear him taking a breath. Hey, TJ, did you? Hey, Flynn, did you forget what happened yesterday? I cringe. Jenna's tone is sharp, and I know I just wish I could turn invisible. Huh? Can't you tell him he doesn't want to talk to you? Flynn doesn't say anything. The tension is so thick in the air, I feel like I'm back in my slimy pond. The cashier fox pauses in handing in my change, staring at Flynn and Jenna. Thanks? I almost yell as I reach out for the money, as if the volume of my voice will make anyone forget, and provide Flynn the opportunity to escape. It doesn't work. We're not kids anymore, Flynn. You can't just treat us like crap and expect us to act like it's okay when you decide we're worth talking to again. Flynn's hunched forward, staring off to the side towards the back of the store. Teja suddenly hands from the door, and I can see his face twitching as he passes me. Jenna follows him past Flynn, before turning around as he reaches around the door. If you want to talk to us again, then you're going to have to act like an adult and apologize. Otherwise, later. She exits, leaving us in the most awkward, painful silence I've ever heard in my life. The clerk openly stares at Flynn. I fumble with the change and my wallet, trying to pretend like nothing happened. Did you wanna? Flynn turns and walks out the door. I watch him get in his truck, then pulls out, his face expressionless. For a while, I stare at the empty parking space as I slowly shove my wallet into my back pocket. The clerk, without anyone else to stare at, is now staring at me. Annoyed, I look right at him. What? He stares back at me, expression vacant. Huh? He's young, but the patch of fur and missing teeth and the look in his eyes tell me everything I need to know. I suddenly realize where I am, and where I come from, and this alone quashes all the good feelings I have left of the day. This fox in front of me practically embodies all the problems with this small town. I'll feel such a bizarre, intense wave of hatred for him that I have to leave the store. Pressing the two water bottles against my chest with one arm, I shove my free paw into my pocket, staring at the ground as I walk back into the hotel. I'm sick of him thinking he can do whatever he wants without any sort of consequences. Jenna rattles around in the drawer before using her hip to close it with a snap as she turns to me. I'll apologize to him once he apologizes for ruining the trip. I open my mouth and close it again. Of course, asking Jenna to make up with Flynn is a lost cause. It's like asking Kyle to take off his beanie. Sitting on the bed, I glance at the bathroom door, the faint sounds of TJ's shower coming from within. I hear Jenna sigh before the bed wobbles as she takes the seat next to me. I'd probably feel bad if he hadn't fucked everything up already. I rub the back of my neck with a hand, trying to think of something I could say to convince her. It's just, Flynn is always like that. He doesn't mean anything bad. Yeah, well, I'm sick of having to deal with it. He needs to learn how not to talk like an asshole. Well, I agree. This is one of the reasons why Flynn never fucks with Jenna, or really says anything to her at all. She's kind of exempt from the whole unspoken pact we made to just let Flynn's dickness slide. Even sensitive TJ accepts this and takes the playful ripping well enough. I hear the shower shut off, followed by the high-powered whoosh hotel's cheap fire. Being the links, TJ probably had to stand in that thing for a good 10 minutes before he was even damn. We're adults now. If he wants to get anywhere in life, he needs to shake. He's getting along with, right? He's getting, that's right. Yeah, if he's planning to stay here for the rest of his life, I mean, what's wrong with that? I can tell Jenna's giving me a look, but I don't give her the satisfaction of turning my head. Seriously? Anyway, it's clearly a defense mechanism. He feels vulnerable without his I am an asshole blanket. I mean, just, I mean, you're not a psychiatrist yet, you know. I'm not going to be a psychiatrist. Yeah, you're gonna be like, what is it? You're going into neurosurgery or something, or neuroscience. But you don't need a psych to see that most people who have a lack of human understanding. Jenna stretches and gets up to go over to a lap of small people. While I web when I lay back on the bed, closing my eyes. Absent-mindedly, I pull my phone out, discovering my text from Dave. I forgot to tell you that we were having a surprise party for Paul tomorrow. Yeah, I think we can see this. To be fair, we wouldn't know because we were spending time with something to do. And he was always, you follow any of his accounts, he's always posting to, well, in his route, we saw what other accounts he had. I guess I can get the present for you, but you're definitely going to the party, and then we're gonna go. I mean, we didn't hear about the movie. I am sorry to hear it at least. For what? Because pissing Flynn off like that is going to make this an even shittier vacation. Yeah, he needed to hear it from someone. Wednesday. Okay, that's good. It's broken down and vandalized to hell, which looks great for the camera. The original Echo School was built back in the early 1900s, but it was torn down and rebuilt in the 50s. That's the building I'm looking at now. Apparently, all graves were combined into this one building, which was sectioned off by 3 floors. That is actually really impressive. Like Echo Elementary, Echo Junior High, so that's like middle school, and Echo High. After 1980, there were too few students to keep it functional, and they started busing everyone to Payton instead, closing Echo School down. It's a two-story brick house with a basement of around 30 rooms inside. I remember my parents saying that after it closed down, it was a rite of passage to sneak into the school at night and graffiti up the walls. Basically, everyone drew a pentagram. Nah, that shit is creepy. I set the camera up to get a few shots on the outside of the school, making sure to emphasize the graffiti on the front and avoid the white soccer goal. Apparently, Echo was pulling the field to use. Windows are foggy, and though there are dozens of squares of glass missing, it's pitch black inside. Calculate in my mind how long I'll be speaking over this portion of the footage, realizing it probably won't be longer than 10 or 15 seconds. I feel a little flare of annoyance at the thought of how much I'm putting into this and how little I'm getting out. Well, that is. Well, a lot of filming, there's like a lot of, like, there's months or probably even years of hard work condensed into like a 2 hour thing. After about half an hour of trying different angles, I finally straightened up and wiped my forehead. The sun is up to the point of warming the top of my head. I know that within a half an hour, I'm burning up. I started packing up my camera, and when I felt different sensation on the top of my head, a slight pressure on a pickle, feeling that I'm being watched. Back at the school building, it's quiet, broken, and stoic, like it had been for the past few decades. Still, my eyes are drawn to the second floor, specifically to the window at the far right. I stare hard at it, narrowing my eyes. Behind the glass in the dark room, something calls out from the right side of the window. It's a lighter color and it stands out in the stark contrast against the black of the rest of the windows. It could be anything really, but as I stare at it, I get the same vibes from it as I do from Carlson. What does that even mean? I stare at it, waiting to see if it moves, morbidly imagining a face peering out around the corner of any moment. Picturing Carl suddenly jumping out to scare at me from the window is kind of funny, but almost creepy because I can't imagine what he'd be doing up there. The hairs on my back stand on the neck stand up, and I look around, kind of hoping that something might be nearby. Deserted, of course. My only company being the sand brick road and the dried sagebrush. I turn my attention back to the spot next to the window, half expecting that maybe a horn to be gone. Still there though, not having shifted at all from where I spotted it. I sit the strap on the camera bag onto my shoulder and stand up straight before moving a little closer to the building, next to the doors for a better look. Maybe. Maybe it's a handle to something. Maybe it's the handle of an old watering can. Maybe for a class project forgotten long ago. Maybe. I shrug off the feeling and turn to leave. The fuck is this? Enter the school? Oh, hell no. Something is in the back of my brain. I look back at the door and I can tell right away that there isn't anything holding it. Shut. At least not on the outside. Maybe I can get a few shots of what's in there. I walk slowly up to the door. A thin piece of plywood, definitely not what was here originally. A small tin. No trespassing sign hangs from it, almost completely rusted through. It gives the door a tentative push and it instantly gives way, sliding noisily across the concrete ground. Inside there's a staircase right in front of me. To the left and right there are wide darkened hallways. It's just crossing over the threshold when I realize what I'm doing. Even if I did get some good footage, it would have been from breaking into the place illegally. I'd basically be filming a crime for a school project. Yeah. The floor creaks above my head and I realize just how stupid this is. Then why the fuck did you enter it in the first place? I don't turn around. So how do you even know that he's here? Oh wait. I think we can Carl is here 90% of the time. Besides, how would he get around without his parents? Everything is so old fashioned here. DJ seems to have cheered up since the incident a few days back. That's just what he's been putting out so far. Sometimes it's hard to tell with DJ. We wait a while, but there's no answer. Anna looks pointedly at Leo, who pointedly ignores her. He's probably asleep. And how do we wake him up? Okay. I'm gonna skip this section because, like, if you see my other playthroughs, like, this is like them trying to break into the house. The hell? Flynn parks slowly and quietly opening the door. Flynn, what the hell are you doing? Leo whisper yells as if he walks up to the truck, glancing over at Carl, who's leaned up in the seat with his mouth hanging open. Even from here, I can hear him snoring. Hey, Wolf! If you still want it to be a surprise, you'll shut up. What the hell are you doing? Flynn rolls his eyes. We went to the reservation. What? Why? Because it's something we do sometimes. I texted you that we were going to surprise him. Yeah, that's why I'm here. Flynn rubs the back of his scaly head. Just a little late is all. Started winning more than I usually do. So Carl and I stuck around for a little longer. You were gambling? Of course, because that's all the reservation is good for, huh? Whoa! Flynn held up his hands defensively. What's with all of you? Flynn's eyes settle on me, and so for some reason I feel my heart keep a jump. Chase, what the hell's crawled up everyone's ass? I feel like the answer should be obvious, but Flynn's trying to get things at least somewhat close to normality, then I'm fully behind him. You know how Leo is. His way or the highway. Leo shoots a glare at me, but I grin at him, trying to lighten the jab. I sense TJ further back behind me, separate from our group. I really wish I knew what he's thinking right now. Leo lets out a tiny growl before turning back to Flynn. I feel like you could have at least told us. Flynn sighs and glances back at the ram sleeping in the truck. Well, why don't you guys go inside so this whole surprise thing isn't as weird? It's locked. Flynn walks over to the Carl's side before turning us. Go to the back. There's a key under the doormat. Dude, I just want to be put behind me and not the surprise! Carl stands there, frozen as his strings of confetti drape over his horns. For a moment, he goes completely silent and we all stare back at him. Finally, TJ giggles. Oops, you meant to get it on your horns. TJ goes up, picking the confetti off Carl's head. His hesitant movements make it obvious how hard he is trying to avoid touching the horns. What? Carl finally breaks the awkward silence as he continues to stare at all of us, pushing TJ's hands away to pull the confetti off himself. Leo steps forward, a clear, forced smile on his face. Your birthday. Happy early birthday. Carl continues to stare. Flynn steps up to his side and puts an arm around his shoulder. Yeah, there isn't much to do around here, so we have to come up with something. But a birthday party for me is not for another month. Be happy, Carl. It's probably the last birthday party you'll ever get. Carl opens his muzzle and snaps it shut, his long ears twitching around. Carl, this is basically just a party. Your birthday is just an excuse to have it. Oh, come on, Jenna. We got you gifts and everything. Leo nods at me, and I take that as my cue to lift my bag into the air, grinning sheepishly. I mean, it was Leo's birthday last month. So what? You just want to give everything to him? Flynn gives a hard tug on one of Carl's horns, and he swats at Flynn's hands, with more annoyance than I'm used to seeing. The cake! And TJ raises the cake in the air. Flynn leans against Carl, pointing at it. See? Red velvet, your favorite. I'm silently thankful that Flynn's trying this hard to not let Carl freak out. I think we're all a little taken aback at how much he's resisting. Carl's shoulders do droop a bit at the sight of the cake, though. Where are your plates? Gina's over at the cupboard, opening a few and locking inside. This kitchen is huge. Second one over. At that point, we manage to shake off the awkward haze we're in and start moving towards the table. So, we got the whole day planned out for you. Yeah? Carl stands at the end of the table, one hand on a chair, as he watches all of us. While I knew Carl wouldn't really be into the idea of a party, I didn't think it would be this bad. I wonder if his anxiety had gotten worse since the incident at the university. We're going out to eat later, and then a movie. Thought you might want to see the new Luce Lobo film. Carl's hands go up to pull the beanie tighter over his head. Well, as long as you don't tell the waiters that it's my birthday. Yeah, isn't that place by the theater where they basically force you to wear one of those cone hats? Yep, and I swear to God, if one of them gets all touchy with my horns trying to pull it on. What? You blow pot smoke at them? I think it's kind of fun. TJ struggles to put the plastic dome off the cake. Leo reaches out to help him, but pops free at the moment and takes a large glob of frosting off the side of the ew. Come on, TJ. We can get that piece to Carl so he can stay on his diet. Flynn pulls air quotes on the word diet. An awkward silence follows, one that Flynn clearly notices, and I see him sulk in response. Carl coughs. I didn't have breakfast, so this should be fine. Leo claps his paws together. While we're having cake, why don't we start opening your presents, huh? Carl grabs the bag and unceremoniously dumps it onto the table. He goes through them, giving an obligatory thanks when he finds out who gave it to him. I see my gift for the first time along with Carl. It's a hornband, in black and orange. University of Pueblo colors. We used to make fun of the jocks that wore them at Pueblo. Thanks. He looks at me as if trying to figure out that I'm joking or not. I can only offer a pained smile at response. It's only now that I'm feeling guilty for not getting him the present myself. I'll get him another one on his real birthday. Flynn steps towards him at that point. Here's mine. Oh, it's the lighter. It's the lighter. Oh wow, it's a lighter. We learned about this in Carl's route himself. Went all to the reservation for that. Cigarettes are untaxed on the reservation. Another thing that is useful for Flynn. A chill descends over the room again. After it had just warmed up, I just went there for the. I just went there for casino. Cigarettes were just. Mm-hmm. Flynn stops and frowns, looking confused and hurt. At this point, I start to feel myself wanting to stick up for him. The rest of the party is uncomfortable as Flynn stews in the corner. Finally, Leo stands up and tells us to get out of the car. Leo gives Flynn a look, and I can tell he's going to confront him with something. Quietly, I linger towards the door and listen as the rest of them head out. Oh, so now I can't just say anything to him, huh? Flynn. The look on Leo's face is deadly. His eyes are narrowed, eyes flat against his head. He's barred. Flynn's initial hesitation made backs up. Promise me that you wouldn't fuck this. You said you wouldn't cause any problems. I was fucking trying to do better. Can you read the fucking room? No one wanted you to say anything to me. What? Just gonna let things get this far away? Well, that's kind of your fault. I'm trying to be nice to you. And did you see Jenna? Not fucking hell. You know how he is. Just leave him alone. He's a fucking adult. He's not a little kid you have to protect. That's why for years the little shit has manned up enough to say what actually happened. You have to see. That's what this is all about. You only want another chance. Leo's looking at Flynn with pure disgust on his face. Sounds like you think I wanna fuck you. I wouldn't put it past you. It's like Flynn leans back with his That's not the only one with a spirit move there. Flynn's eyes flip to me. He doesn't even say anything in response. Instead, he thinks a rap now. Flynn only flinches a little, but doesn't move, just folding his arms, staring hard at the wolf. I don't want to see you talking to him again. This week, if you do, I'll shove your fat tail so far up your ass. Buy me a drink first. Chase, get to the car. I jump as Leo snaps his head in my direction. I'm torn about this. I don't feel like Flynn did anything wrong. I'm trying to talk easy. If what Leo suspects is true, I think I need to. Alright. Leo punches the door frame on his way out, swinging the door shut. Told you he's violent. Flynn retunes his position against the back of the couch, arms folded, fully chewing on his toothpick. We both listen to the sound of Leo's truck starting up before it fades as if pull out. I look over to the left of cake on the table, wondering if I should clean up just to give myself something to do. The glob of cream stuck to the side of the plastic dome gives me a jolt of genuine sadness at the mess this whole get together had turned into. Flynn, meanwhile, retains his sludge sulking. Finally, the pressure's too much and I feel I need to say something. So, as if that's his cue, Flynn turns on his heel and stalks out the door. Hey! I scramble to follow him out of the door, feeling more annoyed than sorry for him at this point. Where are you going? Flynn doesn't say anything as he walks up to the truck and yanks open the driver's side door. He slams it shut just as I walk to the door. What the fuck? He finally does turn to me, then shifting the toothpick around in his mouth before he speaks. What? What do you mean, what? You can't just take off. Why not? Flynn arches his prominent brow at me, and I struggle to think of what to say. It's not like he owed me anything. I didn't stick up for him all back there. Was he expecting me to? As far as he knew, I just needed to get my project done. I just thought you could just give me a ride. Flynn smirks at me. Where? The mine. You serious? I mean, it's a few miles away. You know it's sealed up and everything, right? Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean I can't get a few shots of the outside. Flynn sighs heavily, and that annoys me more than anything else. Whatever, man. I turn around and start heading up the road, not even sure if it's the fastest way to the mine. For the next 10 seconds, I walk briskly up the road, but Flynn's car doesn't start up. I already know that it's going to relent before he says it. Fucking hell, hey! I turn around, try not to smile. What? You know what? Get in. I try not to look too eager as I make my way over to the passenger side and hop in. You're smart, don't you? I roll my eyes. I don't think anything. You're the one shooting yourself in the foot all the time. Whatever, man. And I stare through the boughs of rebar into the darkness of the old mine. There's a damp, cold breeze coming from inside. All I can smell is dirt. Yep, beautiful, ain't it? Might as well just slap the mine Jane on a flag. Presents the town pretty good. Then moves back to the truck, chewing on another one of his toothpicks. There's that unsettling feeling about the whole place, and I'm kind of glad Flynn is with me because of it. It's a good 3 miles from the town center, and the gravel road is deserted. Our only company is a few crumbled ruins and foundations scattered every 20 feet or so. The only sign of modernity is an oddly placed long patch of asphalt and two lampposts at the end of it. The town had tried to turn the area into a tourist destination a decade ago, but the recession put a hard stop to that. That seems to be a running theme in the town's history. Progression halted by outside forces. Don't you have some say in this? Mumble absentmindedly, messing with the settings of the camera. No. I'm the clever. I just mess with records and shit. It's still hard for me to imagine Flynn working in that position. Shouldn't you just be there now? It's still before 5. Maybe, but why bother? What? He looks up at me, toothpick bobbing around in his mouth, eyes wide as he shrugs. What do you think everyone's gonna notice? I got paid to do nothing. But once you get fired, it's an elected position. Well, unelected then? It goes unchallenged every year, Chase. I frown. Does Flynn have any sense of duty? Flynn takes a toothpick out of his mouth and stabs it in my direction. Hey, I didn't bring you here to get lectured about how to do my job. I've been doing it the past 3 years. Flynn shoves the toothpick back in his mouth. Anyway, I was kidding. About time. I get my shit done, then I leave. Hmm. I set the camera on the tripod and look through the lens. Don't me. There's a good amount of satisfaction that I get out of this film. I mean, your cousin or whatever is the mayor, right? My aunt is. And so what? Isn't that nepotism or something? Flynn sighs heavily behind me. Elected. Alright. It just seems kinda I don't know. It's not a good thing. As I film I can hear him really starting to grumble behind me. So I try to change the subject. Well, it's good to see that you're not smoking anymore. Did toothpicks help? Not right now. Not. Flynn had smoked since he was a freshman in high school. I distinctly remember him offering me cigarettes when he was like 14. I always get pissed off. I remind him about that. I pick up the camera and I move to a different angle. Well, maybe you can give Leo a few pointers. He doesn't say anything and I close my eyes when I remember what just happened to the move. I filmed for another minute, then turned around to face him. I'm sorry about what happened. Flynn doesn't look at me, instead choosing to stare out in the desert. Why? You didn't do anything. But I could have, and this project is why we're here in the first place, isn't it? Flynn sighs and finally looks up at me, his eyes all the more piercing to the right side. You know, one thing I can't stand is people apologizing over nothing. I frown. What does that mean? Yeah, you can apologize, but to the end, it's doing is making you feel better while fixing nothing. I glare at him, and my face gets hot, even more than it is the desert heat. He shrugs and leans against the car, head flew to the back, and eyes shut against the sun. I stalk over to the stand in the front of him, and I can see a smile playing at the edge of his muzzle. Man, fuck you! On the last words, I jab a finger into his stomach. His eyes fly open and he growls loudly, doubling over. Jeez, Chase. I fucking stayed in this shithole for you. Well, everyone else is having fun, and this is the things I get? Oh, so you stayed behind just for me? Flynn stays curled up, rubbing his stomach. His face is inches from mine, and I still got that stupid grin on his face. You an asshole. Ah, Chase, my heart. Clutches at his chest dramatic. More like your stomach. I poke at it again, but he reacts too quickly. His lithe torso bending out of the way. You can't keep your hands off me, can you? I just fold my arms, glaring at him. Flynn finally straightens up, looking around. Well, I'm not gonna do a repeat of yesterday. I've got a house, you know. Is he talking about how we fooled around yesterday? That he's inviting me back to his house? Or more specifically, his bedroom? I swallow and I don't want to look too eager like that's the only reason I stayed behind. You know, I'm a little hungry. You want to go out and get something first? Flynn snorts as he gazes down at me. What? From the diner? You know how that fucks me up. I think. You said you'll cook for me a few days back. Flynn's eyes rubbing a hand behind his head. What is this? Saturday? Well, you said you preferred diner. You preferred dinner before. I trailed over as Flynn raised a brow at me. I said a drink. We can have that too. Flynn looks over into the desert again, thinking. Fine, but I'm gonna get you back to that boat. I smirk. Yep. He turns away from me. His tail comes in and knocks against my crotch. It wasn't all that hard, but it's enough to make me feel it in the bottom of my stomach. Oh, fuck, come on. I walk bow-legged for a few seconds and I move to gather up my equipment. I don't think there was an equal challenge. That's cause you ain't a lizard. Now how are you rest up? Flynn's house is a ranch-style adobe home. Damn! This looks a lot cooler. He moved here only a few years ago, so it's my first time seeing it. It's an alright place. Housemate's quiet and keeps himself. It's almost like I have it to myself. You got a housemate? Well, yeah. Don't need the whole house. Saves a decent amount of money too. We pull in next to a kind of foreign-looking faded yellow scooter. He's new to Echo. You probably like him. He's a big fucking nerd. I hop out, the pavement warm against my pads even though the sun is setting. It looks nice. Kind of like a smaller version of Carl's house. Carl's mansion, you mean? On the way up to the door, I feel his thick heel bump against my own. It's soft enough that I'm not so sure if it's on purpose. As we go inside, I'm hit with a blast of warm air that's not much different than what's outside. I air out my shirt. Flynn notices and chuckles. Sorry, but you better get used to it if you want to hang out with a Gila. As I follow Flynn into the kitchen, the smell is a bit strange as well. Kind of like sagebrush, which isn't a bad thing at all. That you, Flynn? Yeah, I have a friend over. Oh, one of your reunion friends? Flynn opens a fringe. We have any green peppers left? I hear a sliding door from the hallway and I turn up to see what's some startling sight. A tall lizard comes in, but it's not his height that's surprising me. It's rather his coloring, spotted blue with pale eyes. I then realize he's a salamander, and a reptile. Hey, salamander man! Get back, pink guy! No, You can take anyone, anyone. You can take the fireman, he's an asshole. But you better leave the fireman. Anyone's but the fireman. Man, I love 50 Frank. I suppose I'd seen brightly colored infantry in Pueblo, but definitely not Echo, and not even in Peyton. There's a smile on his face, and I try hard not to stare. Dax, this is Chase. Hello, Chase. How do is hello, Chase. Hi. I reach out to his offhand hand before feeling the cool, almost slippery sensation of his skin. Yeah, sorry. I know you guys aren't used to salamanders around here. I cringe inwardly as I realize he's caught me staring like a dumbass. Oh no, I don't mind. Mind me being a salamander? I'm mortified, but he's still smiling. Alright, Chase. Enough making a fool out of yourself. Flynn is tossing ingredients over to the counter. Peppers, cheese, eggs. He can't help it, he's not used to it. Well, he's always bragging about going to college. Sometimes it sells you better if you just get out more. I'm not sure what to say at this point, but Dax saves me from having to try. Oh, please. Preston sits next to me on a stool, that warm smile is still plastered onto his face. Yeah, Flynn here was on a sweet talk on hyena a few months back. I see Flynn turns up before he turns around, pointing a knife threatening. Oh my god! Don't you dare! Refer to him as a canine, like that isn't something basic. Hyenas are not canines. They're like more. Hyenas aren't really canines. They're like more so. They're more. I heard that they're more related to cats than they are to dogs. But even I've heard that hyenas. I've even heard that hyenas have their own class anyway. Wow, Flynn, really? Flynn turns back around with a huff. Sometimes you forget shit. He's trying to play it off, and I can see the frills on his back on the hill flaring out. He didn't care anyway. Fuck, so fuck off. Daxton rolled his eyes before getting up and airing out his shirt like I did earlier. Well, I'm going back to my side of the house. It's a freaking sauna over here. He pats me on the shoulder as he passes. Nice meeting you, Chase. I ratchet his hands back down towards the hallway, sliding shut the door. It's colder on that side of the house? Yeah, dual habited residence. I want to see more of this in like the other sequels and prequels. Because we know that TJ pops up whenever he gets in like warm places. Jenna can see it in the night. Leo, I'm not sure about Leo. We know that Flynn now is like very sensitive to temperature. And what is it? Yeah, we're also very sensitive to temperature, but we psychologically need the water. I look longingly over Deck's side of the house. Get your ass over here so I can teach you how to cook something. The next hour is surprisingly fun, even though half of it is spent with Flynn yelling me at how wrong I'm doing stuff. He calls it chiles rellenos, peppers filled with cheese and meat and covered in egg before being fried. I had to agree with Flynn that it's way better than the diner food, even though the food over there is still pretty good. When we finish, Flynn dumps the dishes into the sink, with a clatter before snatching up by the arm. Hey! Shut up, Chase. I frown but allow myself to be dragged down the hallway to what I presume is the lizard's room. It's very depressing. It's small and simple, but on what focus is the fairly large bed. He pulls me into a make room to shut the door before pressing me back against it and kissing me full on the mouth. I open my mouth the moment his tongue prods at my lips. I'm not used to that feeling of something so thin and flexible sliding into my mouth, but it's not a bad feeling. His long tongue easily entangles my smaller one. At the same time, his hand grabs my bottom of my shirt and pulls it over my head, breaking our kiss. As I lean back against the wall, Flynn's eyes play over my body, clearly drinking in it. I narrow my eyes. Hey, you've already seen me naked. I reach forward, undoing his belt with a quick okay. Flynn doesn't resist and instead stares as smirking down at me. I give him a smirk in return as I rest my hand on his hips before slowly sliding them down, pushing the pants down with them. As his tail slides out of the rear, I move my hands around to feel his okay. His thick tail switches in response before I squeak. Okay. I'm so preoccupied with his backside that I almost forgot the front. That's when the pants finally drop to the floor. Okay, face to face with. I hit the lizard chuckle above me as he sways his hips, bobbing his. No. What's that face? What the fuck? Okay. While he was shorter and thicker, what's in my mouth is now longer and. What the fuck? I start to bob my head back and forth, suddenly self-conscious, worried that a pro like Flynn might see me for a complete amateur that I am. His reaction, though, says otherwise. He grunts and grows, seems buckling and pressing into my mouth each time I pull back. I look up at his face and I'm surprised to see him looking right back down at me. His eyes are slits, his mouth hanging open into gasps. So he's more of a push. He's more so trying to compensate for things. He puts on a persona to seem like he's the tough guy, but he really isn't. I blush and look back down, focusing instead of his light stomach, his faint abs standing out just a bit more with each thrust. For the next fight, okay, it's this crispy. Finn breathlessly apologizes each time. As it goes on, though, I can feel the muscles in his legs start to tense up. Oh, damn! Freaky ass, freaky ass lizard, you 69 god. Freaky ass lizard, you 69 god. Hey, 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 run for your life. Hey, 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 run for your life. Freaky ass lizard, you 69 god. I feel Flynn tense and start to step back, but I slide my hands up, okay? Flynn is still trying to pull back. He runs out of time before. Oh. Flynn doubles over me sharply, his head slamming against the doors that take him. Okay. I glance up at him again and see the top of his head and his hand pressed against the door. His eyes are squeezed shut and his teeth are blazed as he hisses through them. His other hand is his other hand is gripping tightly into the head for against with each socket. He grips tighter. Albert whispers his twitch. I did not need to learn a lesson about animal physiology. I see his stomach rise and fall in front of me as he shakes and gasps against the door. What the fuck? Oh fuck, Chase. I don't know what you did, but fuck. In the middle of his sentence, I gave his softening cock another suck. He yanks my head back with this. What the fuck? I grin big and gasp as I'm yanked up to my feet. Finn turns with me forward towards my bed, made difficult by pants around his ankles, and I shoved him backward onto the mattress. He grins at me as he slides his shirt back over his shoulders. Now it's your turn. I don't want to see. Okay, I don't think so. I'm so thankful I did not have to say anything to that. I lay on my side, head on Flynn's chest, while his arm is wrapped around me, his head stroking my shoulder. I rub his smooth stomach in big wide circles, making sure to get every inch of it. I occasionally just trace the outside of his chest as it rises and falls before dipping down low, almost touching his stem. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave it from here. I'm gonna save this.